everybody. Welcome to 6WC Mapple Showcase. Sorry, not Mapple Showcase, seating reveal. Just making sure is the sound volume okay for everybody listening.
I can hear you loud and clear, Mash.
Let's go.
Let's do this.
Alright. Yeah, please just type in chat if anything goes wrong with that. Music too loud, alright.
Especially my volume. I've gotten so many complaints, especially in the prediction screen, that my mic is too soft. So, please, bro, I gotta hear my own voice in the VOD. Anyways.
Okay. Anyways, let's get started. Yeah. So first of all, I'm Ashuf. I'm your host, and will be today's streamer. Joining me today for the seating reveal and groups drawing are Gummy Crayola from Singapore.
Hello.
And also our beloved admin and also host of the minor league, Wheels Was.
Hello.
Hello. Anyways,
What's good?
Let's get started. Yeah, I know I have yapped enough.
But yeah, I mean, Wheels did a pretty solid intro. You know, I'm the captain of Singapore Wheels West, the ex-captain of the previous winner of 6WC. But yeah, jokes aside, reminder, because we have group stage this time, top 40 teams will qualify. So you're praying for the top 40 if you want to qualify, of course. But yeah, good luck to all of the groups. We hope that you had a good time playing the quals map pools and your quals went well. I know some countries kind of threw a bit, but de-seeding, we love de-seeding. That said, I don't want to belabor anymore, so without further ado, Mash, take it away.
I need to meet the laser client. Give me 1 second.
Alright. While Mash is getting set up with the laser client, well, this is a time, honestly. The predictions, the seed reveal is usually my favorite time of a tournament. I mean, it's usually super fucking hyped to see your countries, and I don't know, I'm feeling pretty nervous as a player myself. You know, Singapore first big year and all. So, you know, I'm just sitting here waiting in anticipation for what's to come. I don't know, Wheels, how do you feel? How do you feel with regards to this seed reveal?
I think.
I mean, you going in with any expectations for USA?
I do have expectations since I know a bit about the process of team building and stuff. So, our goal, honestly, is breaking the curse of winner's curse, not making it out of groups the following year, and then admin/host never having their country win the tournament.
I get it.
So we have step one of making it out of groups, and then if we manage to do that, which I trust this team to do so, our next step would then be to break the winning curse.
I mean, we're coming into this, both you and I, very different experiences with 6WC. I think I come from a country that, you know, usually isn't well known for having the best rosters even in the WCs. I believe our best performance was 5WC minor league all the way back. So, meanwhile the USA, I mean, the unanimous quote unquote best country, best OSU country. So I think going in with different expectations. However, I mean, with this year, with the Singaporean team this year, I am going in with pretty high expectations. You know, looking to get as best of a seed as we can. Which is why I'm personally feeling very, very. It's a mixture of excitement and also a mixture of worried, of worry. You know,
yeah,
it's a lot of anticipation. But I mean, I'm gonna open up the chat real quick, see what's happening down there. Man,
flaming my slowness. I'm so sorry. Like seriously, I'm
sorry.
sorry.
All right, guys. Come on, guys.
I know it's been way too long. This is taking way too long for anything.
Hey, guys. We're really trying our best with this one. I mean, you gotta bear with us, all right? There's like what, 1,000 players. You see, things take time. To trademark, of course. And hey, if you're feeling upset, I'm just saying, it's like what 12 a.m. for me. It's like 40:0046. Like, come on, bro. I'm devastated.
Yeah.
Anyways, so podcast time. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the CDC podcast. I mean, maybe we can talk a bit about the predictions actually. Just to remind everybody, because I run the prediction stream, our predicted, you know, top. I would just say the top 8. In fact, our predicted top 8 is going to.
I'm
Oh,
ready.
are we ready?
Yes.
Oh,
I'm
we're ready? All right. Then we'll get into the predictions and see how right we are later on. Then let's move.
Yeah.
Let's get along.
Let's get this. Yeah, so let's do. So, firstly, we have our 55th seed, so our last seed. Unfortunately, it has to be one country, and the country is Chile.
Oh.
Huh? Wait,
Oh,
Chile.
Unfortunately,
Okay.
Chile
Uh-huh.
only have 6 people signed up this year, so it's undoubtedly a hard task for them to qualify. But
yeah. A great fall from grace. I mean, last year we saw the dominance of Isita, probably one of Chile's best yet, and it seems as though this roster really lives in the shadows of their previous roster. So, unfortunate for Chile.
Yeah, unfortunately, we can't change the font color because Osu Laser is kind of stupid with customizations. So this is
Oh,
what we
dear.
stuck with. Yes.
Mm.
Anyways, let's move on to our 55th country, 54th. That will be Ecuador, which have 4 players
Mm.
to.
For 4-player team, they did pretty well.
I will say this is going to be the trend that we see mostly for these countries that are making their 6th WC debut. And at the end of the day, can you really blame them for their performance? You really can't, because a lot of these teams don't even have full teams of 8, let alone full teams of 6, let alone full teams of 8. So yeah, but this is gonna be the trend that we're gonna see for probably the next few seats. But at the end of the day, new countries coming to participate in a World Cup is always good to see. And yeah, Ecuador is unfortunately no exception to this trend. Let's move on to the next seed. It's gonna be seed 53.
Alright, give me 1 second. Sure, you guys want to fix the BG, I will fix the BG. That's another 10-minute
Oh.
break. Thank you very much. That's why you guys requested, so I'm gonna do it.
Oh my goodness.
While we're having this break, I feel like this year there's gonna be a pretty equal chance for every country to actually get the top spot.
Honestly,
of this WC.
honestly, Stan, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because from how I saw in the prediction stream, due to no deranker screening, the difference between the top countries and the middle countries are really pulled apart, because you gotta take into account the top countries this year. You have USA, you have Brazil, you have Russia, Singapore, Canada, Peru. These extremely strong countries, the top 8 are really, really closely packed. And hell, even I'd say the top 6, every single country in the top 6 predicted have a chance to take the trophy. But at the end of the day, due to this real disparity in deranker screening, at the end of the day, countries that fall in the middle of the pack, for example, Germany, you have countries like maybe Taiwan, you have countries like Malaysia. These countries really seem to fall behind because with no deranker screening, that gap just becomes so much larger. And I'm personally very excited to see especially the later stages in this as the tournament draws on. I really want to see how later matchups will go. Canada versus Peru versus Canada versus Singapore, how USA versus Brazil. I feel like these are some these are going to be some really, really exciting matches that we have ahead. So, I mean, I really want to see who ends up on top, because even me as a player and a commentator, I personally, despite being in the 6-digit community for so damn long, for about a year now, I still don't know who's going to come out on top, which is baffling to me, because in most 6-digit tournaments that you see nowadays, I can usually get a good grasp. I see a team and I'm like, okay, maybe this will probably be the top 3 that we have at this tournament. But for this 6WC, due to no deranker screening, I really can't put my finger on who's going to be a winner. unlike say the USA team of last year where we had scary, like absolutely scary, like really terrifying players like Aryan, you had CD Delta, you had Yarissa, you had you had the absolute demon of a team that USA was, being only stopped by the unexpected, Poland incident. But this year, every single team in the top 6 seems so equally matched to the point that honestly, I'm just super pumped for this year.
Yeah, we're gonna see some one-sided matches every now and then throughout the stages of 6WC, but throughout the later stages, I think we're gonna have some pretty close games. Tiebreakers, hopefully. I always love to watch tiebreakers, but I feel like this year's 6WC is gonna be a very fun one to watch.
Yep. It looks like Fubuki has a message for me, chat. Or Fubuki has a message for me. Yo, I mean, nothing's happening on the stream right now, so yes, Fubuki, you may come. Uh-oh. Alright, Mr. Fubuki. Alright, what do you have for me? What do you have for me?
I come here to deliver the message from personally and from the Vietnam child and for the chat that is going on right now. Can you stop yapping?
Bro, it's not, bro. Okay, all right, guys. I like to always say this. Like, bad commentary is always better than no commentary. Like, come on, do you just want to sit in silence while watching this starting soon thing? Like, come on. It's not like me not talking is gonna make this go any faster.
But you don't have to constantly yap for like you don't let us like have a break or something. Come on, man.
Bro, I gotta give you a break.
What
I gotta give
about?
you a break. Okay, bro. All right, bro. All right, sure. All right, bro.
Alright, that's it from me. Thank you. See ya.
One thing I do kind of want to talk about, I noticed in the ref channel, was there was a lot of DCing occurring in tryouts. Did
Really?
that
Oh, I think
affect you at all, Gam?
I feel
I
like you
know-
might be abusing the retry when you disconnect, I think.
All right, hi guys. I'm ready. Let's go back with this. Hello.
Yeah.
Oh yes,
I'm here.
Yes.
welcome back.
All right. Thank you very much. There we go. And our 53rd place is Sweden, which again, unfortunately, does not have a full roster of 8 players. They only have 6 people.
There are quite a lot of countries who placed number 1 last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to our 52nd place, which will be Turkey, which again is another country that doesn't have a full roster.
Yeah, I mean, that's just gonna be as I mentioned before, that's just gonna be the trend with the seeds today. Not having a full roster in the first place is gonna suck, especially if you're a newer country and, with some 500Ks in the roster. Clearly, they're probably their first tournament experience. What can you really expect?
Yeah.
53rd was Sweden, for those
Yes.
who didn't catch it.
Yeah, and 55th is Chile and 54th is Ecuador. Anyways, let's move on to 51st, Azerbaijan. Again, team that doesn't have a full 6-player roster.
I will say Molly Sendera's is this Molly Sendera's 3rd year in Azerbaijan, single-handedly carrying this. I believe last year they actually got seed 40 or they qualified. That they definitely qualified last year. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I think all their players ranked up. With only Myanmaru left, so unfortunately they were not able to replicate what they did last year. Let's move on to the next seed 50.
Yeah, also top 40 is qualifying. Next
So
seed
those
is,
below for your seat won't qualify, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Next seed is 50th, Bulgaria. Our first full team, I think.
Oh, I remember playing against this team twice last year.
Yeah, I mean the Bulgaria team last year had probably some of their stronger players. We didn't see MX1 come back. I believe there was one more player that I
Prohosnica.
can't quite put my finger down on it. But yeah, this year the Bulgaria team definitely took a big hit with some of their players ranking up, and is evident in their quals results. Let's move on to seed 49. Let's just gloss through these earlier seeds
Yeah.
real quick. We don't want to spend too much time on them.
Yes. Let's go. So,
Well-
49th seed, we have Portugal, another full team. Unfortunately, they are out of the tournament, and I don't think there's much for us to say other than JGVI, our beloved Portuguese trial host, is also out. Anyways, next we have Romania, which does not have a full team, but unfortunately they did not do well enough.
No, I do recognize some players, like namely Sanders and V Winter, but as you see, it takes more than just knowing a few. It takes more than just a few players to qualify. Let's move on to seed 47.
C47 will be Kuwait, another 4-player team.
Oh,
First time
wait.
participating in 6WC.
Ooh.
oh my! Is this wait? This just might be the highest seeded 4-player team that we've seen so
Maybe.
far.
So far, yes, so far.
Yes, definitely so far.
Really good shit from them. I mean, going to a World Cup with only 4 players definitely takes balls, and well, they
Yeah.
definitely did make a pretty good showing at seed 47.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a shame though. Their DT1 score was really good. I'm pretty sure their hidden just pulled them down too, and their Nomad too.
Yeah, unfortunate. Next team will be Lithuania, 6 players, 46 seed.
Another first time roster, if I'm not wrong, and nothing too new to see. You know, maybe some no mods and hidden scores that stand out slightly, but we're at the lower seat, so like the comparison between these teams and the top teams are just too big. So let's move on to seat 45.
45 will be Venezuela, 7 players this time.
Yep, I mean Venezuela. I believe this is actually a new team. They weren't here in the prediction stream, but even so, I mean they you can definitely tell that they did in fact try. Look at that, just looking at that 34 placement on the DTs.
The DT scores are crazy.
Yeah, a
though.
valiant effort from Venezuela, but nothing
Yeah,
much
but-
to say left. Let's just
Yeah,
move on.
their Nomad was particularly weak. So is their
Yes.
hidden. But move on.
Move on. Next team, we have another first-time participant, which will be South Africa at number 44. 5 player this
Welcome.
time.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
South Africa, another new country. I remember. I like to point out. I remember Frunan talking about this team as like "Daddy with milk," and I'm like, holy shit, banger name. But anyways, jokes aside, Hard Rocks and DTs, their standout scores, but at the end of the day, not enough to call. Let's move on to seat 43.
C43 will be
No!
another full roster. Israel with Frunan, unfortunately out of the tournament.
I mean, yeah, Frunan, a loved player from Israel. I remember Frunan telling me. I mean, he felt as though Israel did pretty damn good, and especially on those on the DTs and hiddens, I definitely think that they did pull their weight. But at the end of the day, just barely missing out at
mod.
seat 43. I mean, that's
Yeah.
just unfortunate.
Some countries do specialize more in certain mods than other mods, so
Yeah.
it's
Alright.
unfortunate.
Next, we're moving to the last 2 teams that are out of qualifiers, and one of them have one player I think everybody knows about. He is very active in general chat, and that will be Bangladesh at 42nd with Xi'an as their captain. Unfortunately, they will be out of the tournament.
Those DT scores are really strong actually, but the DT2, less a pain one.
Yeah, and our last team that will be out of the tournament, the very unfortunate Hungary, coming in at number 41st, 41.
No. Yeah, Hard Rock and hidden scores.
Sorry guys, I was getting I went to go drink some water anyways. Yeah, Hungary just barely missing out, seat 41. I mean, what can you do apart from try harder next time? I will say Wallace and Shira Hiragi, probably two of the standout players on this team, but unfortunately, 2 standout players is just not what you need. It's just not enough to.
Oh,
push
before you
them
move
through
on,
the
that no more one
qualifiers.
score is really good actually.
Really? Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't
it's
notice that
number
one.
25. If they pulled up another one of the scores, they would have actually qualified.
Yeah, but
Anyways, we move on.
at this juncture of the seed reveal, everyone beyond this point will be playing in the group stage. So if you are in this, if your name hasn't been called out, well, that means congratulations, you qualified. So let's
Yeah.
get to our seed 40. Let's move
Seed
on.
40 is Italy, our former 6WC2 winner.
How the mighty have fallen.
I
the
mean,
mighty have
we,
fallen. I
we,
mean-
we don't talk about what happened in Italy 6WC's win, but
Yes.
going back, I mean, this is definitely one of the teams that we kind of expected. It was kind of up in the air. No really well known players on these teams. So
Yeah.
I mean, seed 40
Are-
seems to be a pretty expected placement for Italy. So
Pretty
yeah.
weak. Pretty weak. No more 2 score 2. The countries might have something to do against that. Hehe.
Yep. Next team, Latvia, 39. I think this is their highest placement in all 6FC ever, if I'm correct.
Really? Wait, Latvia? Wait, this is their first year. This is
Is it?
I believe this is the first country that we've seen who's made their 6WC debut and qualified.
I mean,
Holy
they-
Yes, I don't recall seeing Latvia last year when I played.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah,
They
Latvia.
didn't have a team last year, but they did have teams in previous years.
Yeah, I
Really,
remember
I
This
see.
is,
seeing
the,
them.
this
Yeah,
is the
in
first time they've
6FC1.
made it to group stage.
Well,
60k, guys. If you guys are complaining about 60k in 6WC, I don't know if you guys saw last year. There was a 40k, I think.
There's 30k
I don't
by
know
the
if
end
you
of
guys saw
tournament.
that.
There's
Yeah, there were 40ks last year.
Yeah.
Anyways, we digress. Of course, Latvia with that pretty solid DT score, which did give them the extra push over Italy in seeding. But let's move on to seed 38.
Yes, C38 will be Austria.
Yeah, Austria. This year they didn't have their some of their star players such as Itzmini come back. But with that said, with a completely new roster, I believe a completely new roster actually, they are back and they just barely made it to qualifications. It seems as though that DT really pulled down their seeding a bit. Across all of their other slots, they did seem to perform really well and really decent. It's just that DT that they perhaps struggled on, and it's also important to note that the DTs in this pool are marginally, I'd say they're pretty simple. So if you tank your team score on DT, the Z sum will definitely bring your overall seeds down. Let's move on to seed 37.
Yeah. So our seed 37 will be Czechia.
Pardon. Oh wait, pardon.
Sorry,
I don't
yes.
mean to interrupt, but Mash, could you just check the VC chat real quick while I take this? Thank you. Next up we have Czechia. Last year we didn't see them qualify, I believe, but this year actually they did in fact make it past qualifications. I believe the captain of this team is Jack Nardo, and under the leadership of Jack Nardo, they have just allowed Czechia to make that push through. It seems as though on the hidden and no mods, he did seem to struggle here and there, but on everything else, they had pretty solid scores across the board. I mean, there's nothing much to say. Of course, they have some returning players such as Daniel of Hofmark coming back this year. No Foxy 19191919 like we saw last
Foxy.
year. But I mean, last year I don't think they called, but this year, they proved all the doubters wrong. And yeah, we are
Wait, the
facing.
Nomad one score actually caught my eye there. Pretty strong.
Yes.
We are currently facing a few technical difficulties here and there. So as much as I don't want to, as I don't want me to bring out bad news, we might be taking a quick break. Meanwhile, I guess we can talk a bit about the predictions that we were dwelling on just now. I'm gonna just briefly mention what the predictions were. The predictions for groups that we have currently gotten wrong was Actually, Israel. I believe we got Israel wrong. We got Romania wrong currently, and Austria. We predicted Austria and Latvia. We predict and Czechia. In fact, we predicted as DNQ, but this time they did prove us wrong, and they managed to make that push over. I will say, I believe we also got Bangladesh wrong. Bangladesh did not qualify, unfortunately, as well as Hungary, if I'm not wrong. So already, as you can see, our group predictions are already kind of skull face emoji. I mean, do you have anything to add on, Stan?
Me?
Yeah.
Predictions are gonna be hard this year. Like I said, every country has new teams now that the whole screening process has been limited to just those that have reached above the rank range. So then again, predictions will be hard. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I will really like to point out just how impressive and how surprising, in fact, Latvia's qualification is, because I went into this completely like I only know Latvia from fucking Eurovision, so so to see Latvia actually manage to make it out of quals is really really impressive, and I'm really really proud of them. In fact, yeah. I mean, what's the status, Mashi, with the technical difficulties?
There's no technical difficulty anymore. We can
Oh,
proceed.
really?
Yes.
All right,
Yeah,
let's
we should
move
be
on.
okay.
Let's move along.
Next team we have is number 36, Denmark.
It's gonna be Denmark. We have some returning players. We of course have their star players Rurup and D Crescendo come back this year. And last year I believe they did qualify, and well, this year they kept up that streak. Overall, the scores across the board, their standout scores being their raw no mod scores, especially that no mod 2. So it seems to be a pretty strong consistency team. But with that said, across on everything but no mod, they do seem to struggle quite a bit. But with that, nothing much to add with these teams. Let's move on to seed 35.
Yeah, C35 will be Belgium, with again 8 players.
Yeah,
overall, a pretty consistent team in terms of their rankings. Nothing special except for the DT though. The
Yep.
DT looks cool. Okay,
yeah,
next.
the DT is pretty good. But let's move on to the next team. This is gonna be C34 with. I repeat, this is gonna be C34 with Switzerland.
is Switzerland.
Okay, I was talking to Mirage Fire about this actually. He was a previous 6WC player for Switzerland, and he actually said that Switzerland did surprisingly well for him. And just looking at these scores, I can definitely see why he said so.
Yes.
32, 33, 27 on everything but DTs is definitely nothing to scoff at. It just seems as though their seeding really tanked when they got that underperformance on DT1, which really dragged their seeding down. As I mentioned before, doing badly on a DT really hurts your GSUM due to how easy the DTs are, expecting a lot of really high scores from a lot of the higher seeding
Yeah,
teams.
but it seems that their speed is quite strong too. The mechanics pass are also pretty good. Their weak side probably comes around their typing with Nomad 2 and their reading with Hidden 2.
Yep. And yeah, with that, let's move on to seed 33, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, C33 for this year is Pakistan.
Okay, now this is something that I was looking forward to. I think when I saw that Pakistan made it out of top 40, I mean, I was just like really, really happy. Just gonna give you some insights to the players that are known. Doggerism and Itachi 420, two up-and-coming Pakistan players. We haven't seen them a lot in the international scene, but I do know in some private tourneys, especially Itachi, they've been consistent, very, very strong players. Just going back to what I was talking about Mirage. Mirage actually hosted a private tournament where Itachi was one of the standout surprise picks in his draft tournament. But going back to seeding, Stan, do you wanna take it away with the seeds, the scores for this team?
Oh, right. Their Nomad 2 scores are it's pretty strong, but I can see that their precision is quite weak, and so is their ability in reading high AR with TT1, and their speed is also relatively weak.
Yep. Now let's move on to C32. Now we are in the top
C32.
32.
Yes, so we are moving from the unseeded or not seeded teams to low seeded.
Yep.
Each team, so within each seed category, you will not be playing the teams within your same seed category during group stage. Just letting everybody know.
Yep.
So we're moving into low seed, and our first team is number 32, India, right beside
Alright, I think-
Pakistan. Very interesting placement.
Whoa. Calm, let's take it away. Let's move away from the controversial topics and actually talk about India as a team. I'm sure everybody in chat knows the GOAT Raki Miku, our all favorite cat boy. This year they're being led by Seizoku. I believe both Raki and Seizoku are returning players this year. Looking at their scores real quick, of course their standout seems to be on Hidden. Interestingly enough, getting a very strong score on Hidden 1, the highest that we've seen so far. So this is definitely the best Hidden team that we've seen coming out of these qualifiers. Just looking at the team real quick, I mean, some standout players being It's Rage, Inception, Cream, some up and coming Indian players that I don't think many people have heard of. But yeah, nothing much to say about India. Let's move forward with seed 31.
Yes, so C31 will be Norway with Soup playing for the first time in
Oh
6
my goodness. I think some of these players need absolutely no introduction. Super Jaeger, Andy, 26, and B5Y, unironically one of some of the strongest players in the tournament. I'd say Andy very strong on aim consistency. Super Jaeger, I mean, everybody knows him, everybody loves him. This guy, very strong mechanics, and B5Y, I believe, is a reading player.
I can definitely see the strength in mechanics, but I can also see the weakness in their alt and tech maps. Their tapping also feels kind of wonky with Nomad 2. Their hard rock aim is also on the weaker side, but they could be just tanking or sandbagging their hard rock to bait the other team to ban them.
Yes.
Number 11 on Nomad 1 is also really strong.
I do
Yes,
want to
Wheel?
also shout out Highbane. They got second place in a Nordic 1v1 tournament recently.
really?
Wow.
So
that's
shout outs
crazy.
to them. They are a very solid player as well.
Yeah, I
to-
think Norway is a dark horse team that's looking to be a real dark horse team. Just ignoring
Yes.
Andy, B5Y, and Super Jaeger. I mean, Norway has the backing and support that these three players have the backing and support from their team that you really want in a team size 8. But let's not belabor any longer. Let's move on to seed 30.
Yeah, and also I want to finally shout out
Oh,
Mr.
really?
Wong. I think he has
Oh wait, I
played-
forgot about it.
Yeah, I think he has played in every single 6MC, if I'm correct.
Wow, veterans pass.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on to number 30, Thailand.
Yep, Thailand
Oh.
has always been known in the 6 digit as that team that nobody really knows about, but somehow they always manage to qualify. Just looking at these players, I mean, I don't really know any of them, and looking at their scores, they don't seem to be really out of the ordinary, apart from being especially good on the DTs. But if you ask me, what do I know about these players? Honestly, I literally have no clue. So I've got nothing much to add on, unless anybody else wants to take the mic on Thailand. If not, let's move on
let's go.
to seat 29.
It will be Netherlands at
Oh
C29.
my goodness! All right, Netherlands, you
Whoa.
all love them. You all know you all love them. If you've been in 6 digit tournament scene for a while, you would know Death by Darwin, the veteran player from the Netherlands, as well as Prince of Hell. I mean, looking at the rest of this team, no one I personally don't know any of these players that well. So we're just gonna move on straight to the maps, to their individual scores. They seem to have weaknesses on both Hidden and Hard Rock, so they seem to struggle a bit on the mods. But other than that, I think this team is relatively solid and pose a good chance.
I agree, but I also know what's gonna get permabanned against them. It's gonna be a Nomad 1 permaban.
Oh, GG. We all love the Nomad 1 perm event. Let's move on to seat 28.
C28 is Colombia.
Yep, seat 20 is Colombia. Colombia is an interesting case. I mean, this year they didn't actually have many of their players that we saw last year. We didn't have players like Ragnar, we didn't have players like Shroex, but I mean, this year they surprised. Oh wait, no, they do have Shirovex. My bad. But this year they didn't have Ragnar, their previous captain, and honestly, they are really surprising me with their performance. Seating a respectable seat 28. You have some stand-up players like Nixon Return and the aforementioned Shiroax, of course. Looking at their scores, again, another team that seems to struggle a bit on the mods, but on the standard no mods and DTs, they seem to perform relatively well. Notably, that no mod 3 score being really really solid. But I don't have anything left to add. Let's move on to seat 27.
C27 will be Spain with, again, very familiar player, Erikio. I think everybody knows him.
I mean, the star player Erikillo, Mr. 300 PP himself. But moving away from Erikillo, there are some very promising players such as Pinwee, Dark Michigan here and that I've seen here and there. Other than that, I don't really recognize most of these players. Going on to their scores, Stan, would you like to take it away?
Bro, I would like to take this away. Again, looks like it's a very consistent team, except, however, for their DT. Number 40 on DT1, they are either gonna have to ban it to prevent them, getting weak-sided by it, or they'll actually have to practice on it. Other than that, I feel that their Nomad 3 is really strong, their Hidden's also really strong, they don't have any trouble with Hard Rock 2 in particular, so it's gonna be hard for you to really choose what to ban against the teams that are gonna be playing against them. So
yep, that's right. Let's move on to seat 26.
Seat 26 will be Belarus.
Oh, now this is an interesting one, and that's something that a team that I didn't really expect. Belarus, not that well known in for their performance in the 6WC in their previous years, but this year, I mean, they have some standout players. Mainly that look at their 5 digits and just gonna take a quick look at their scores. Another team that seems to be slightly weaker on Hidden, but other than that, I think, Stan, we can definitely call this a mechanics team. Just look at those DT.
Definitely agree. Those DT scores, the Hidden One scores.
Well-rounded team, I must say. And with that, we're gonna go on to C25.
Alright, C25, which will be our last low C team. I think this one surprised me a lot. It's Hong Kong.
Ooh, wow. Now, Hong Kong is interesting because we saw Hong Kong make it out of groups last year. Of course, that was off the back of TC69691, one of the best 6-digit players at the time. This year, of course, they are definitely a force to be reckoned with. You have a very strong player in Kuronami. I personally teamed with this guy, and this guy is an absolute demon on mechanics. Of course, going on to the rest of the team, Ricky Loke 927, according to SSD, has been making pretty big waves. Going on to their no mods, actually, going on to their individual scores, it seems as though their no mods and hiddens really seem to drag them down a bit. However, on their hard rocks and DTs, now this is the kind of mechanics team that I expect, especially if Kuronami's quote unquote carry status is anything to go off. I mean, these scores are just what you expect from Hong Kong, but I'm actually really interested to see how Hong Kong performs this year. Let's move on to C24 and MASH. As you mentioned, this is the last of the low seed teams. Yes. And now we should get into the mid seed teams, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, mid seed, and first of the mid seed is Finland with, again, Alu16 coming back into 6WC. What year is this? Excuse me.
There are two scores in particular that have interested me. They're Hard Rock 2, which is a skill set I particularly think that 6 digits do not have much skill in, and DT2, a skill set that I'm pretty sure most people will try to train but have difficulties in. So having really high scores in that, well, you know what teams are gonna ban against them. But I also cannot ignore their streaming capabilities with Nomad 2. So I think they're like, again, with the previous teams, I feel like there's gonna be a hard decisions on what to pick and what to ban against them.
Stan, you mentioned that as well, and I also like to point out the star players Nickva and Giggle69. These players are very, very strong in their own right, and it's evident to see, as I believe this is the most well-rounded team that we've seen thus far in the tournament. I mean, look at all their scores, and they're really, really close. I think, as Stan has mentioned before, banning against this team will be pretty interesting, but let's move on to seed 23.
All right, C23 will be South Korea.
Okay, now South Korea is an interesting case. I personally expected South Korea to see it a bit lower during the prediction stream, mainly because they don't have, Sky on Osu from last year, which was their real carry. But this year they actually fucked up my expectations. You have Friendship 1226, Paradigm, and 13 as their standout players for me personally. And just looking at the scores, we're really getting into that area where they're starting to get close to the top 20 margin on every single one of these maps, going on to that with a special standout scores from the No Mods and Hiddens. Of course, I know Paradigm personally is a very strong hidden player, and that is evident in that number 11 on Hidden 1. On Hidden 3, on No Mod 3, pardon me, they also do, on No Mod 3, 4, and 5 actually, they do seem to perform very, very strongly. So I definitely think this is a strong control team when all said and done. Let's move on to C22.
All right, C22 will be Germany.
Well, this, I think, during the prediction stream, I guess you can spend a bit more time on this country. This is probably one of the biggest hits in 6WC history. Last year, we saw the absolute monster of a team that Germany was. You had players like Yamasu, you had players like Tio, Daktai, and this year, however, it seems as though their strength has really been watered down with the loss of players like Tio and Daktai, as I mentioned before. Of course, they still have very, very strong players all across the board. I don't want to take anything away from them. These players, all in their own right, are very, very close in skill, and I definitely think this is a very balanced team in terms of team strength. There's no one on this team who's outrageously stronger than the other. Now, Stan, would you like to?
I definitely agree. However, there in every pool there will always be more Nomad maps. Then there will be hidden or hard rock or DT maps individually. So it's gonna be really hard to play against this team if your Nomad is particularly weak-sided. But if your other mods are pretty much strong, well, you might have an advantage against this team.
Yes, I noticed as well before we move on. This team is, you should not underestimate this team, especially on low SR. This team arguably is one of the most scary on low SR, and although they don't scale the best, especially players like Rota Borgel, Zoshi, and Aspect, and if I'm not wrong, Sayaka slash Donexia, even though they don't scale the best, they're very, very strong on low SR. So definitely, if there was a team to cause a group upset, I think Germany is one of them. Let's move on to C21.
C21.
Yep, and this gonna be Australia. Actually, I was a doomer on Australia. I was saying mad shit. I was like, holy shit, there's no way Australia does well. But I mean, I believe they did beat their last year's seed. I mean, Australia has always been around the mid-seed level, and this year they proved me right. They proved me wrong, in fact, with getting seed 21. This year, of course, with the lack of their star player, Facey / Hot Femboy, in spite of that, they have very, very strong players in Argelian, Rairay, Spawny, and X-Psych. These four players form a very, very strong core, and Synax, Vader, Labby, and Dubswan are able to fill in the holes that they miss out. Looking at their scores, they seem to have a weakness on Hidden and DT. However, just me personally, just knowing some of these players as friends, I definitely think that these scores can be improved upon. Apart from that Hidden, I don't know how strong Australia is on Hidden, especially because the only Hidden player I know personally is Spawny. But of course, I think this is another team that has a pretty good chance of causing a seed of a group's stage upset. Let's move on to the top 20th, the 20th team. Now
Also,
we get into the top 20. Yes.
Just before we go into top 20, a lot of people has been asking why are their scores like nerfed. It's because for all mods, your score is normalized to be maxed at 1 million, just like no mod, in order to be better compared and better, standardized across all maps for the stats sheet and for seeding calculation. So your score is not wrong if you, time the multiplier back. So, yes.
I see. Let's move on. Let's move along to the top 20 seed.
I do not want to know why people are spamming question marks in chats. There is nothing.
There is quite literally nothing wrong with us normalizing the scores. It just makes it more easier for us to compare.
Yeah, because everybody's score is normalized to a certain, not to a certain degree, at the same time.
Let's just move along to the next seed.
Yes, next
Oh.
seed is Kazakhstan, which, in my opinion, is slightly lower than I expected. But well, take it away.
I mean, you know me, Kazakhstan. If you know anything about Kazakhstan, I heard from some insider information actually from Lighten. Apparently, there was this one Kazakhstan guy that just DM'd every single 6-digit, which is what gave them their insane player count. But unfortunately, as we see, despite some really strong players on this team, Imo4, Capro, and hell, I would name some strong players, but honestly, this team is just overall very, very strong. Unfortunately, they did seem to drop the ball on Nomods and Hiddens. However, being very strong on Hard Rock, the highest seeded Hard Rock team that we've seen thus far. And well, I know I've been saying this for the past 3 seeds of Germany and Australia, but if there was a team to cause issues in the group stage, Kazakhstan is definitely one of them. A very, very scary team. Underestimating this team is a death sentence. Let's move on to seed 19.
C19. Sorry, C19 will be France. Number 3 on number 5.
France, I believe, would be actually predicted to be very high, so it's very interesting to see them this low. This team is honestly really, really solid. I mean, this was, I believe, the number 6 team in 6 EUC. So this team is very, very well rounded. You have very strong gimmick specialists like Lesbe. You have very strong hard rock specialists like Natsuko. Stan, would you like to talk a bit about this team?
I'm just particularly interested in that Nomad 1 score. I'm very curious how they actually scored that low.
That's true.
Then again, we can't really see much. They could be sandbagging it.
I mean, as much as I don't want to point any fingers, that's how Nomad 1 works, An unlucky RNG will cause them to tank their seed. I will say this is a very, very well-rounded team once again, and we're getting into that point in the seeding where the lines between who gets out of groups is very, very close. And even if you're higher seed, especially on the lower SR, you definitely need to look out for teams such as France. Let's move on to seed 18.
Seed 18. This is Mexico.
Oh, now Mexico. I mean, personally, I don't know many of these Mexican players. I know LLDH, King, and El Arachi, but other than that, most of these players are an enigma to me. Looking at their scores, however, they are very, very consistent on everything but that hard rock. Pardon me. And rightfully so, given how El Arachi is not that well known for his ability on hard rock. But with that said, I mean, this team once again seems to be a very hard team to play against. With all of their strengths, being so spread out, especially on that Nomad 3 and Nomad 1. So a very, very solid consistency team. But I've got nothing more to say about this team. Let's just move on to the next team. This is gonna be seed 17. This is
seed 17. Last of the mid seeds will be Japan.
Now, I know me personally, I love my Asian representation. This year we actually saw a shift in the captain. Noko BSF stepping down from captain this year, and it's going to be replaced by UU3150. And honestly, for a huge organizational shift like that, I think Japan has really proven themselves to be a very strong contender to make it out of groups. I mean, personally, when we did predictions, we didn't predict that Japan would even, we wouldn't even think of Japan making out groups. But this seeding seems to prove us otherwise, as across all of their mods, they seem to be very strong, 13th, 11th, and 15th on HD, Hard Rock, and DT respectively, only seeming to drop on that Nomad pool. However, they're not even that weak on Nomad. Just look at that Nomad 5, number 2. That's the highest placement that we've seen thus far. It's just that the Nomad 1, 2, 3, and 4 really tanked their seeding a lot. But I believe if their Nomad scores had been just that much stronger, they could have easily gotten into the high tiers or even the top tier team. But yeah, with that, let's move on to the Seed 16 match. I believe this is the high tier teams, the high seeded
Yes,
teams.
this is high seed. So yeah, we have high seed and then the top 8 are top seed. So bottom of the high seed, Malaysia at number 16.
Oh.
Okay. I mean, Mr. Stan Rosilla, would you like to go? Would you like to blast these guys? The two Singaporeans in BC, by the way.
As our very beloved neighbor giving us water, it is kind of funny to see them, seed quite high, but
Wow,
technically low on
okay.
high seed. But I would very much like to comment on some of their scores. Their Nomad 2, Nomad 3 is super strong. I'm very happy with that. Hidden 1, Hard Rock 1, very good too. However, their DT scores look particularly weak, and their Nomad 1, Nomad 4, and Nomad 5, so their gimmicks and part of their aims are also pretty weak too.
I will say, however, Malaysia is a team well known for their consistent 6WC placements. I believe they've made it out of groups in every single 6WC against all odds. This team, I would like to point out, me personally, as a Singaporean, I personally know a lot of these players. LSC, Garbil, and someone here form a very, very strong Malaysian core, and they basically come in for all of the maps, and they're basically able to put up very solid scores on a whole bevy of maps. As Stan Rosilla mentioned, they have some standout scores here and there, but across the board, they seem to be very, very consistent, and they seem to be very, very balanced as a team. So me personally, as much as I have the Singaporean beef with Malaysia, I am very excited to see how well Malaysia does this year. Let's move on to seed 15.
All right, seed 15. This is Taiwan at C15.
Yep, this is going to be Taiwan at C15. Okay, now this is a rather interesting seed. This team has two standout players, ST88 and Rookie 303. These two players are absolutely demon. They are strong high A tier players and arguably some of the best in the tournament. But more surprisingly, just looking at the rest of their team, you don't usually expect such a good placing from a team that seemingly has only two players. But of course, when you look around the corner, Xiao Xie coming back for another year. Xiao Xie coming back for another year of 6WC. Leo, an upcoming player, Dog, Tohu Chef, who've been popping off in the the Chinese/Taiwanese scene. And overall, this team seems to be very, very solid as a team, and definitely seems to be a dark horse team in the grand scheme of things. Across the board, it seems as though they have very, very consistent scores, only dropping the ball on Nomod once again. But hell, I'm really excited to see how well Taiwan does moving forward. Let's move on to seed 14. Here's where we start to get into the interesting stuff. Top 15, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, top 15. Top 15 will be Poland
Now,
with
Poland,
a missing flag. That is very interesting.
Poland. This is
Oh,
this is
yes.
last year's second place team. This year they come back with Depict 1 leading them. This year they have some repeat players such as Modems coming back. Rival Mid, especially a very, very strong dark horse player that nobody really talks about. Butu, I remember in EQX coming in as a new player and popping off quite a bit. Tianling as well, I've seen them around and they're pretty damn strong. But going over to their scores, they are very strong on mechanics. I mean, Stan, this is a mechanics game.
Yes,
12
indeed.
And 7 on Haro
This
and
is
DT.
a very, very specialized team when it comes to DT and Hard Rock. However, their hidden and their nomads could be very weak-sided for this ranking. So
Yep.
teams higher than this, you know what to pick and know what to ban.
Yep, I'm really excited to see how Poland does this year. I mean, I personally know that this team did lose one of their star players being Philo Master, but even so, seed 14 is a very respectable seed to get. Let's move on to seed 13.
C13 will be Argentina,
Okay,
which is
now.
surprising
What?
to say the least.
Okay,
Oh.
I will say Argentina has arguably one of the best players in 6 digit right now. Top 3. If you know him, you know him. It is Avure. This man, I fear this man. This guy is one of the best players that I've seen. Every single time I face him, I'm quaking. But jokes aside, just look at those no-mod scores. Their seed really got pulled up by their incredibly high no-mod scores. I believe the highest seeded Nomad team that we've seen this tournament at seed 9, they do seem to have a weakness in Hidden, which is, what I believe is Avure's only weakness, being that Hidden mod, which leads me to believe that that's the reason why they got that unnaturally low seed on the Hidden. Going back to the team, I personally don't know many of these players apart from Avure, but if this seed is anything to go off, I mean, this team seems to be enough for Avure to really shine. It seems to be enough to push Avure that extra mile that you need in that team tournament setting. So I'm really, really excited and really, really proud to see Argentina this high. Going in, I thought it was gonna be an Avure solo carry, but I've been proven wrong. Let's move forward to seed 12.
I mean, Unknown is very known in any
really?
ways. Yes, Unknown is a very known player, I feel like, at least in my opinion. Yeah. Anyways,
Move
next
forward,
up,
I guess.
seed 12, we have Ukraine.
Oh, Ukraine.
Oh,
Now, this is the
Ukraine.
team that probably took the biggest hit
Oh,
in terms of
I
strength.
recognize
This-
some familiar names.
Yes, I know you do, Stan. This is probably the team that has taken the biggest hit since 6 UC. This team is the 6 UC winners, and during 6 UC, they had their strongest players like Core Jaden, Fido Lixon, and probably some players that I'm not remembering now. But
It
of
seems
course,
that Philoxen
even-
is one friend. Philoxenia.
even in with this weakened team, they still have their S tier player Philoxen, of course, but a lot of up and coming players such as Zersh. I know Zersh has been doing very well in the 150k tournament scene. Sundux has been doing well. Sunyex has been a up and coming player. Limecat as well, I believe, a very, very solid speed player, and of course Philoxenia being Philoxen's disciple himself. Kegels, Lovers, and Emperor, I'm not too sure I haven't really seen them around, but I do know that just from looking at these scores, they do seem it definitely isn't far from a Philoxen one trick. I do think Cat Girls Lover is Danji 1, and Danji 1 was part of the EUC team, and Danji is an extremely strong player in his own right. Going to the seeds, I mean Philoxen. This just screams Philoxen. Number 3 on DT. What a
Number 3
what
on
a
DT and number 5 on DT.
Yeah,
but they
one
also
of-
have their shortcomings with Nomad 1.
Yep, definitely one of the strongest raw tapping players. I remember Philoxen actually complaining to me about that No More 1 score. He sent me a clip where they were just laughing because all of them had broken by the second KI. But yeah, with that said, I mean, Philoxen, arguably the best tapping player in 6WC this year, and I'm excited to see how Philoxen leads this so-called new team, and I'm excited to see how far they go. Let's move on to seed 11.
Seed 11 will be Indonesia.
Okay, now Indonesia has always been known to be a strong contender, a strong Asian country. I believe they were number 1 in 6. Oh wait, actually we shouldn't talk about that one. But anyways, jokes aside, this team has some very strong A tier players in Arctis, Imar, Gading, but they also bring a lot of new players to the table. You have Zetsu on Gimmick, Ren, a very strong hard rock player, McFlurry, a very strong player in his own right, and I believe a lot of these players, despite not being too well known in the international tournament scene, just based off these seedings and based on what I know about these players, they are very, very solid. I did say beforehand that this team's biggest weakness is their mental. So I do believe that they are able to overcome this mental challenge. I do think that they have the potential to go very far. Stan, would you like to talk a bit about these scores?
Yes, 2 scores in particular, Nomad 2 and DT1. You're gonna see a trend in me targeting the more lower scores, but I believe this trend will end soon once we reach the higher seeds. However, I believe that they would have seeded much higher if they were able to pull up their DT1 scores and the Nomad 2 scores.
But-
Overall, very consistent rankings for
Yep.
all the mods, so
Yep.
all the best.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, C11 is still very respectable, and with that, ladies and gentlemen, we get into the top 10.
Top 10, but not top seed yet because there's 2 more seeds until we
Mhm.
reach top 8. Anyways, top 9. Top 9. Number 10, Philippines.
Philippines. Okay, now Philippines, probably one of the teams that are hurt the most by screening. They lost one of their strongest players, being your Yui, an easy high A tier to S tier player. but even so, they have a lot of young and upstart players such as Zix and Jared Law to come in this year. I believe actually this team consists of 5 returning players. I think this is the biggest returning player roster that we've seen. Blue Nuggets, Fledrick, I'm a Fancy Neko, Junior Origami, and Zixilo, if I'm not wrong, all being returnee players. Of course, you have players who are very dominant in the 150k scene, such as Idex Mandrike, coming this year. A very strong mechanics player in I'm a Fancy Neko. Junior Origami back, in fact, this year for 6WC. Got screened last year, but he's back this year, replacing his brother Shion Origami in that gimmick slot. And of course, this team is led by the one and only Fledrick, one of the admins of Minor League. In fact, Wheels, I bet you love working this guy. And yeah, Flair in his own right is a very strong leader. But once again, same story with Indonesia. This team seems to struggle on mental a lot. Especially, I know Zixilo and Idex Mandrike do feel nerves very, very harshly. And if their last year performance is anything to go by, I mean, mental can really devastate a team as strong as this. However, I believe, with this seed 10 placement, hopefully, they're motivated to try their very best. And off the back of Fledrick, who I know is a pretty formidable leader, hopefully, they're able to overcome that mental hurdle. They're just gonna take a quick glance at their scores. Across the board, very, very strong, especially on no mods and hiddens. On their hard rocks and DTs, they do seem to struggle a bit, but not enough to be to show any glaring weaknesses. Now, with that, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to seed 9.
Seed 9, the last of the high seeds, which will be Vietnam.
Okay,
3 SEA
now,
countries back to back. Very interesting.
yes, indeed, Mash. And as a SEA brother myself, I am very, very happy. But of course, going to the seeds, I believe Chino, in fact, was telling me about these seeds beforehand. He was telling me how little faith he had in Vietnam as a team to go far in 6WC. But I mean, seed 9, the highest seed of the high seeds. I mean, you have a lot of unknown players. You have players like Hoshino, Inukai. Inukai Akane is Mahendra Kurone, if I'm not wrong. But especially Joy as well, being mostly unheard of players. But at the same time, you have a lot of experience. You have a lot of experience in this team. Mahendra Chino, the badge player of the tournament. Whoa, we let a badge GMT in. What? As Jerry Jumbo, one of the strongest 150k tournament players, and probably one of the strongest Asian players in general right now. You have Fungus, who's been, consistently playing tournaments ever since the last 6WC. Mahendra Kurone or Inukai Akane, a very, very strong mechanics player overall. Especially and to round it off, Cus Naruto, a very young and upstart player who's been making pretty big waves, especially in tournaments like Michi Cup. But going on to the big name that I'm sure a lot of us will recognize, it's Fire Red 88 back for his 4th year, along with Mr. Wong, if I'm not wrong. So I mean, you love to see a veteran come back. Looking at their scores, probably the most balanced team that we've seen so far, and this team really presents no glaring weaknesses at all. 13-14, 13-14 on every single mod slot. And I'm just saying, this as a Vietnam team, despite what Chino says, I think this team has definitely proved Chino himself and me wrong as a caster and as a viewer. So I'm very excited to see how Vietnam does this year.
Yeah, I'm excited for Vietnam as well, especially Fire Red, 4th year for Fire Red.
Yep, 4th year in fact.
Well, not 4th year, 4th tournament. But anyways, top 8. And yeah, if your name hasn't been read out yet, you are in the top 8.
Congratulations.
So, congratulations.
Wait, before we go into the top 8, I would like to mention that this top 8, as I mentioned before, despite this top 8 might just be one of the most competitive top 8s that we've seen due to no de-ranker screening. One of the scariest top 8s of all time. And if your country hasn't been read out, I mean, you are in the big leagues. But let's kick off the top 8s with the bottom of the top seeds. This is seed 8
Number 8, United Kingdom.
All right, now the UK, as I like to say, is an upgraded. The UK team, as I like to say, is an upgraded Germany. This team is a very, very balanced team. Every single one of these players have a role on the team to do, and they do it well. This is, I believe, the number 1 team predicted in my head back when the first phase of screening was carried out. And with the new phase of screening, even so, they are still a very, very capable team. You know, you have your gimmick specialists like Bigfoot, Dragonfire, Flaming Galaxy, and Highway Vortex to cover on your gimmick. You have your mechanics players, you have, you know, Exaria, you have Lorem, you have Hazardous, you have Flaming to some extent, and, you know, to cover all bases, of course, you have your control players such as Flaming, Highwave, and, you know, just to round it off, you have your all-rounders such as I mentioned before, Flaming Galaxy, Highwave, Default CBA, Dragonfire, etc., etc. So I will say, I'm really excited to see how United Kingdom does this year. Of course, they did take a big hit not having players like Fop Doodle, Wilwam, and Fishy on their roster last year, which is what allowed them to get number 4, and not number 3, unfortunately, but it is what it is. But even so, just a quick glance at their scores, their only real weakness seems to be hard drop. But even so, that could just be boiled down to, you know, unfortunate performance. And personally, this UK team is a very, very fun team to watch because every single player on this team has a role to fill, and every single one of these players are motivated, every single one of these players are determined, and they have their eyes set on a goal. So I really love this UK team this year, and I'm really looking forward to how they perform moving forward. I'm also looking forward actually to see how well UK does against the big teams that we see, you know, the teams that were predicted top 3, because this, at the end of the day, seems to be an underdog team, because there are no real standout ultra D-rankers on this team, but everyone on this team is just up there. They're, you know, constant high Bs or low As or hell high As on this team. So very excited to see how this team does. Let's move on to seed 7.
Yeah. Moving on to seed 7, we have China.
Okay, now China has been known
Wow.
to be a dark horse country, because the thing about these China/Taiwan/Hong Kong countries, or even South Korea and Japan, is that they're very isolated from the international 6-digit scene. And well, China last year, nobody saw them coming, but they got top 3, and this team is definitely no exception at all.
Number 1 on Hidden 2, and very, very crazy scores on the rest of the maps too.
Yeah, I'd like to give my 2 cents about what I do know about these players. The arguably best player in this tournament, Xiao Lingfeng, is on the China roster. This man is absolutely incredible. You just check his ETX, and he has a base ETX of what, 6.2 star diamond ETX. He's a very, very, very strong player. You have ZHJK, a very strong reading and gimmick player, as well as Eric 1388, a very strong all-rounded fill, and the captain of China this year. Unfortunately, they are not under the guidance of the very, very strong captain of SSD, but I mean, this year with these kinds of scores, this team has the power. This team packs a massive punch. And, you know, even though I don't know any of these players personally, I am super stoked to see this Asian team, how well they perform moving forward. Let's move on to number 4.
Number 4? Number 6.
I mean, it's
We have
number
6.
12,
Yeah. Number 6
Risk it.
is
Excited.
Oh
Peru.
my goodness. Now, I was looking at these scores from Peru, and, you know, me personally, I was like, oh shit, this team is a top 3 seed, but, you know, this team has, this team seeded a bit lower than I thought. I thought they would get either around the top 4 range, but this team is another one of the dark horse teams. The Peruvian 6-digit community are very, very tightly knit. If you ever see players like, you know, Angst or Unberto or Derico Danny or Defnor Aldo, you always see them teaming with each other, and that is the strength of the Peruvians. They are a very united team. They are a team that knows each other. They know each other, and they love playing with each other. And, you know, if these scores are anything to go by, I mean, it's pretty evident. Stan Rosella, would you like to take it away with these scores?
Yes, I'm starting to particularly see more higher seed ranking scores, but I'm also beginning to see that some of these teams have rather weak-sided categories of maps. For example, you can see the Nomad 2, Nomad 3, they're hidden particularly, and Hard 1, DT2. These maps, most of them have sort of particular focus on tapping, but I'm pretty sure they could possibly ban it or bring it back with their mechanics with Nomad 1 and their gimmicks with Nomad 4 and Nomad 5.
Yep, overall, this Peruvian team, a very, very well-rounded team, once again, as we'll probably see moving forward with most of the teams, but I believe this team has a slight weakness on gimmick, I would like to mention. However, as you can see, their hiddens aren't the most strong, but even so, this team is just so overall, so well-rounded overall, so well-rounded in general that I definitely think this team has the potential to go above and beyond. I think from this point on, the top 6 seeds and are all capable of being a number 1 team. So, with that said, let's move on to the top 5, the big top 5, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. And we have number 5, Canada.
Oh my goodness, I am just shocked. Okay, I will say I know this team very, very well. Hell, like the back of my own hand. I know this team even better than my Singaporean team. I even say so. But this team is fucking scary. People like to compare this team to like, oh, Jackie last year. Jackie was the carry of Canada. No, this team is the real shit. This team is
scary. This team is scary.
Terrifying. I can name at least 6 players on this roster who are comfortably, 7 players on this roster that are comfortably in A tier or higher. Aquatic, Aru Ota, Estofia, CTFO, Harold, Yuanmei, and Shortkid are all very, very strong players. Tulipi being the only one that I noticed, falling a bit behind on the team. But even so, Tulipi is a high B tier or even low A tier player. This guy is an up and coming Tawny player with the passion, and sometimes that's what you need. Everyone on Team Canada knows everyone on Team Canada. If you've been in the Canada 6WC server, you will constantly see them, having fun with each other, playing games with each other. And this is a team that premises itself on a strong foundation, strong synergy at the very core. This team this year being led by Yuanmei or Tech Drive is a just horrifying team. Just looking at that, just averting your eyes to the scores real quick. Number 2, number 1, number 3 on No Mods, Hiddens, and Hard Rocks. This team is the absolute beast when it comes to all of these kinds of maps, only tanking their seat due to that unfortunate performance on DT, and that really goes to show, due to how easy the DT pools are, if you perform badly on them, you will tank your Z-sum by quite a big margin. But I mean, I feel like I've been speaking way too much. Before we go, I'd like to point out Aru Ota being this tournament being Aru Ota's first, and I believe in the individual rankings, Aru Ota is a comfortable top 10 player. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this guy just popped out of nowhere and is absolutely making huge waves. So, I mean, this team is just mind-boggling. In fact, the fact that they're seed 5 just goes to show how strong the teams moving forward will be. So, with that, ladies and gentlemen,
I also want to point out Haro is probably the fakest 200k I ever seen.
Oh no, 100%. Oh my god, 100. This is like Imagating levels of sandbagging. Holy shit.
Anyways, number 4. Gabili, please take it away. It's gonna be Singapore.
Okay. Well, I mostly when playing these calls, I mostly thought that Singapore was gonna get number 6 seed, but this is Singapore's best year in terms of 6WC. This is our highest seed by a huge margin. I believe our second highest was 6WC 1, where we got seed 16. But other than that, we've been getting, I believe last year we got seed 27, if I'm not wrong. The year before we got seed 22, didn't make it out of groups. So this year, if I hate to say it, of course, because this is the year that I'm captaining. If I'd be so inclined to say it, but that this year is our year. I might be sitting on my high horse, and I probably am. I don't want to get too overconfident, but this team that I've just been blessed with leading is a very, very well-rounded team at the very core. Looking at our scores, there were some maps where we didn't really replay them because we kind of didn't want to replay a whole lot of maps, such as Cough Cough No Mod 1 and Hiddens and the Hiddens here and there. But overall, I think I can be very, very proud of my team and very, very proud of how far we've come as a team. Seed 4 is something that has been absolutely mind-boggling. I'm sure me and Stan can both relate. Both of us were from the 6WC3 team. Seed 4 is mind-boggling for a small country.
It is very
like
crazy.
Singapore.
We also have pretty crazy players like Eskaze, gambling himself a D ranker, some good all-rounders too. And the scores that I'm looking right now, I'm pretty happy with them. Although their Nomad 4 seems kind of a bit weak-sided, I believe that throughout as the pool gets a bit harder, they might be able to fix it, or
I-
they might be able not.
I'd actually like to say before we go, but this will be the first team that I'm gonna point out. And of course I'm gonna put myself down a bit, but this is the first team that we'll see that doesn't benefit from the SR of this tournament. Countries like the UK, countries like the UK, countries like I'd say Peru, countries like and a few other countries that I'm probably missing, like Germany, they really benefit from the lower SR because their players don't scale as well. But with countries such as Singapore and the country that I mentioned before, Canada and Kazakhstan, in fact, and we'll see later on with some other countries like that I'll mention later on. But these countries scale extremely well on maps that are like 6 stars. There are maps that are like 6.5, like higher map pools where players aren't really FCing that much. Where the name of the game is skill cap over consistency. These teams seem to shine. But I will start to say with Canada and Singapore, our teams function very, very, very strong on high SR. But on the Grand Finals SR, which is relatively low at 5.7, there might be some upsets and there might be some incidents where, unfortunate events, consistency not there, not having a good day on consistency. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see if a lower seeded team is able to upset us in, the later stages.
Kami,
What was
yeah.
that?
I think it's time
Yeah.
to move on. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my bad. I'm just
Yeah.
trying. I'm just
Okay.
trying. I'm so
Yeah.
proud. I'm so proud.
Anyways,
Anyways.
next we have probably, in my opinion, the biggest surprise of the list I've seen.
Yes, sir.
This is gonna be US at number 3.
Yep. All right. I mean, the USA team this year lives in the shadow of the USA team of the last. Wheels West is here in the VC with me, and he can probably attest. But the USA team of 6WC3 is arguably one of the strongest USA teams, the strongest legitimate teams of 6WC of all time.
Okay.
And well, last year they got seed 1. This year they got seed 3. This team's biggest issue, in my opinion, for the first time actually, is mental. I know some players on this team don't necessarily suffer from bad mental, and especially as the world was watching the US play their quals at this point, we were all talking about unfortunate underperformances on some of the maps during their first run. Of course, on the second run they definitely improved on them by leaps and bounds, but at the end of the day, the US is looking as volatile as ever. I say that, but underestimating the US is definitely no joke. But I will say this US team has big shoes to fill, and I personally believe in Colin himself, but it is up to Colin to really fill the shoes of Mr. Wheels West over here in the commentary booth with us when it comes to being that captain, being that anchor that a strong team really needs. I mean, going to their scores, they underperform on No Mod 1, which did, I believe, rob them from going any higher in the seedings. But, is there anything worth saying? I mean, is there anything you don't expect from this team just looking at their seeds? Nothing you don't expect. In fact, you expect them to go higher. You expect them to go seed 1. But of course, this is the USA. Let's move on to the seed, the seed 2. Now there are only 2 countries left.
Yes,
If I'm not wrong.
and 2 countries left. And number 2, we have Russia.
All right.
The Russians are back at it again.
Russia, this team is arguably one of the strongest teams on paper. In fact, I'd say that this is the strongest team on paper because this team is a extremely well-rounded team. 25i, arguably the best gimmick player in 6-digit right now. And, you have players like Young, our very strong tapping players, Shimitori, Seed 2 and TT4. A lot of these players have very, very capable resumes on their to their name. And look at those DTs. I mean, just look at those. Number 1 on DT1 and 2, and number 1 on DT1 and 2, and just what do you even expect? I believe this team is one of the teams that struggle, especially from mental. And I made this joke in the prediction stream, but their biggest weakness is not getting match reported. I mean what? Anyways, jokes aside, it's way too fucking late. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing this team thrive in the 6WC environment. This team is predicted to be 3rd in predictions, and well, rightfully so. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, surprising hell, absolutely no one ladies and gentlemen, presenting your Seed 1 team of 6WC 2024, we have
Brazil.
the one and only
Wow.
Brazil.
Brazil.
This
Well,
team, this team has the highest concentration of S tier players. You have three: Simabuko, Gas Mask, and Ash Bradley. These three players, Ash Bradley very strong on Hidden, Gas Mask very strong on Hard Rock, and Simabuko being hell, I'd say the best player in 6WC period. This team is so incredibly well-rounded that it's honestly mind-boggling. These scores are absolutely mind-boggling. Number 1 on No Mod, number 2 on Hidden, and number 1 on Hard Rock. This team is a absolute beast, I will say. And you know, I like to mention the point that I brought about before about, you know, teams that don't scale that well with SR, but this team surprisingly is a weakened form of their true power, because this team lacks the 4 players: Dumont, Green Hill, Mozart, and Loopy NG. And with that team, I mean 6WC is just basically over. You can call it reps and, you know, play for second. But with this weakened team, I think this actually adds some room for a team to overthrow Brazil. But at the same time, these weaker players who don't necessarily scale that high with the SR definitely get a benefit from the overall lower SR of Grand Finals. Especially, I like to mention Gabby's. Gabby's not too well known for her ability to play high SR, but on lower SR, like 5.4, 5.5, the hell, 5.7, she is an absolute beast. So, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, presenting to you Brazil A of 6WC 2024, your Seed 1 team and your favorites to take the trophy. Just going back to our predictions, Brazil was predicted second, in fact, over the USA, who was predicted first. But I think for any of my dear prediction staff, I think we did a pretty good job of predictions. I mean, the top 4, in fact, are all, hell no, the top 5 are all correct, or at least in the top 5. You know, the top 5 is top 5. But I don't want to belabor anymore, Mashy. I am personally super stoked to see the competition this year.
Yeah. So basically, we will have a 5 to 10 minute break, unfortunately, because we need to change things into group drawing. In the meantime, thank you everybody who needs to leave for watching the seeding reveal. We will be back very, very soon, and in the meantime, I will still have the music song. So yeah.
Of course, I'd like to apologize as a representative of the team that, you know, there were a few hiccups here and there. You know, it's not easy hosting such a big tournament with so many players. You know, the data takes time to pass, and there are some miscommunication issues, especially when you're working with such a big team. So I'd like to take some flack off Mashy. It's not easy being a host. It's not easy being a host, especially with how busy he has been. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, I think I will be checking off. It's 2 a.m. for me personally. So I hope that you guys enjoyed the stream today. I hope you guys are happy with your seats. Congratulations to all the teams that qualified. Remember, top 40 qualify. Later on, we'll have the group draw, which Mashy will explain to you very, very shortly. But with that, my name has been Gamily, and I will personally be signing out after this break. Goodbye, guys.
bye, Gam.
Yeah.
See you again.
Hello everybody, sorry for the extremely long delay. My laser has broke down and there have been some issues with the seating, but we have fixed it and we are gonna do the drawing right now. I'm gonna pin everybody again. Yeah, sorry for the 30-minute jazz period. But anyways, we are back.
Monitors again so I can do 1080.
Hello guys, I have unmuted.
Welcome back,
I
Mesh.
I am
Good morning.
sorry. Yes. Anyways, let's get this started, and I will hand it to somebody else for the map showcase. My laser is definitely having trouble right now.
Alright.
So, yeah, I will hand it the map showcase. So please have some patience.
Longest
I'm
stream.
sorry. Yeah, this is the longest stream ever, probably. Anyways, let's do this.
Let's go.
Let's go. So firstly, we have the no seeds. So yes, there have been some problem with seeding, but the seeding now is correct for all teams. For the no seeds, we have Czech Republic, Latvia, Italy, Switzerland, Pakistan, Denmark, Belgium, Austria are our no seed teams. And obviously we will have none of these teams will be facing each other during our group stage. So let's start. Yeah, I'm not sure what we can commentate other than looking at these seeds.
I think
yeah.
if I had to pick a team I'm the most nervous about getting in their group, I think it's Belgium. I know Belgium has a lot of low star rating players.
Yeah. So firstly, we have Switzerland in Group A. Next, for Group B, we have Italy. Italia.
Okay. I think it's better if we speed through the drawings and then we can talk about each group individually.
Let's do that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Group C, we have Latvia. Group D, Pakistan. Group E, we have Denmark. Group F, we have Czech Republic or Czechia. Group G, we have Belgium. And finally, for Group H, we have Austria.
Okay, now for the next 8.
Yes.
Or what happened to other?
The problem, the stupid thing about Osu Laser drawing is like every time you need to reload it, and then it's like it takes like 1 minute to do stuff. But anyways, we have our low C team, which are Thailand, India, the Netherlands, Norway, Colombia, Belarus, Hong Kong, and Spain. So for Group A, facing Switzerland, we have Colombia. Group B, we have Thailand facing Italy. Group C, we have Belarus facing Latvia. For Group D, we have the Netherlands facing Pakistan. Group E, we have India facing Denmark. I'm glad that Pakistan and India are separate. For Group F, we have Spain facing Czech Republic. For Group G, we have Norway
Oh no, that
facing
group
Belgium.
is so
That
scary.
is crazy.
Okay, we have
Group
a
H, we have Hong Kong with Austria.
Okay, right off the bat, I think Group D and Group G, I think,
They're gonna be
are-
interesting. They're gonna be
are
interesting.
very strong groups. Those are definitely not ones I would want to be seated into.
Yeah, those
with
groups
the,
looks very strong.
And then
with the orange background, you can barely see the glitch from the seating, not the seating. Right.
I mean,
Laser is processing what's going on.
yes, and we have the mid-seas, which we have Finland, Taiwan, Poland, Mexico, Australia, Kazakhstan, South Korea, and Germany. There are some very scary teams already.
yes.
And firstly, we have Group A, Germany facing Colombia and Switzerland.
Cool.
Group B, we have Poland facing
Ooh.
Thailand and Italy. Group
Okay.
C, we have Mexico
Ooh.
facing Belarus and Latvia. For Group D, we have Australia facing Netherlands
Ooh.
and Pakistan.
That is
Okay, that is one scary
E,
group.
we have Finland facing India and Denmark. For Group F, we have Kazakhstan facing
Oh,
Spain
no.
and Czech Republic.
Oh,
Oh god.
no. If Taiwan is in this
Oh,
group,
For
no.
Group
Oh
G, we
my
have Taiwan
goodness.
facing Norway and
this is
Belgium.
true.
my god.
This
Scheduling
is-
hell will be
Finally,
fun.
South Korea facing Hong Kong and Austria in Group H.
Okay, Group
So-
G is insane. I will leak Thailand rookie #1 individual performer for qualifiers. If
Okay,
the stat sheet is correct.
What I am observing right now is Group G is gonna be the group of death, and Group D is gonna be the scheduling of death.
Yeah.
Also,
I'm gonna love the
Oh,
schedule. Hell.
We have literally Pakistan, Netherlands, and Australia, which are all in different parts of the fucking
mean,
middle.
Yeah.
Netherlands
luck,
and Austria
yeah,
probably
actually.
have a pretty good time.
Okay, Netherlands, Australia probably okay. Netherlands with Pakistan or Australia with Pakistan, I wish you all the best scheduling with them, because holy heck, you are gonna have a horrendous time scheduling.
Yeah, also, for people mentioning the seed is wrong, yes, I have made a horrendous calculation mistake on this qualifier calculation sheet, and it has been corrected, but because my laser is broken, I cannot show it right now. I will try to schedule a stream either tomorrow or later today for a re-showing of the seeds. I'm terribly sorry, I have made a very dumb mistake. But yes, anyways, let's go on to the missing
Anyone wants to see
countries.
this reveal again.
What is
The
happening?
missing
Uh-oh.
country. What is going on?
Which countries are missing?
Singapore.
That's a
Yeah.
great laser moment.
This is a laser
Singapore
moment.
is
if ever.
not included.
Wait, these should be in order, so I can figure this out. Is it Vietnam? Vietnam.
It is Vietnam, yeah.
Singapore 2 isn't here.
Singapore should be in the first or the top
There we go.
seed.
I love
yeah.
this.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, if it don't work, just refresh a couple times. We love
Yes.
laser.
Okay, for Group A, we have Japan with wow, that's
Oh.
scheduling helps.
Oh.
My god, that's bad. For Group
Yeah.
B, we have Ukraine facing Poland,
Ukraine.
Thailand, and Italy. For Group C, we have Argentina.
Ooh, Argentina, Mexico. Okay.
That is interesting. Group D, we have Indonesia with Australia,
my-
Netherlands, and Pakistan. That is,
I can already imagine the defaults.
yeah, that's bad. That is bad.
Nah, I do
Group
not
E,
want to be responsible for those defaults.
Yeah, Group E, we have Malaysia with Finland, India, and Denmark. Oh god, Group G looks so scary right now. What is this? Group
Yes.
F, we have
All of the remaining
the
teams.
France.
All of the remaining
facing
teams
Kazakhstan,
are
Spain,
so
and Czech
scary.
Republic.
Alright,
Please be the
who's
Philippines.
coming in a group of death?
Oh, please don't be the Philippines. Please don't be the.
Vietnam in Group G with
Okay.
Taiwan, Norway, and Belgium.
That is
And
so
finally,
scary.
Philippines with South Korea, Hong Kong, and Austria.
Oh, that's the group.
Group
That is-
B.
yeah, we have a group of death already. This is disgusting.
Yeah. Yes.
Huh.
I will also say
Oh,
Group
no.
A is starting to get up there. Colombia
Yeah,
is
Group A
known
is-
to knockout members of group stage, most notably knocking out the previous winners of 6WC1, which with Indonesia knocking them out in groups. They almost went to tiebreaker against China last year in groups, and China got third. So they are definitely a scary team.
They are definitely
Germany
dark
is a
horses.
low star rating team. Japan, obviously, based off of their seeding, is a very solid team.
And last,
There are going to be plenty of surprises this time. So
Yes.
I'm definitely
finally,
happy.
we have the last seeding group, which are our top seeds. We have the US, China, Peru, Brazil, Canada, Russia, and Singapore. Every single one of these things are very, very scary to face in any way.
Yeah.
And for Group A, we have Canada.
Canada.
Ooh.
Oh.
I just want to say that if Singapore gets into Group G, I am going to be laughing a lot, and I'm going to be a very happy man.
Yeah. And for Group B, we have the US. Facing
Oh.
Ukraine, Poland, Thailand, and Italy.
Please make my dream come true.
Group
So number
C.
1 and number 2 are in the same group this year.
Yeah.
from
Also, I'm
last year.
again glad Russia did not face Ukraine groups.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's going to be...
Group C, we have
Oh,
Brazil,
no.
top seed Brazil.
Oh. Group C got sent
The
to Brazil.
Americas group.
Okay.
Group D,
Do not be Singapore until Group G.
Russia, with
Oh.
Pakistan, Netherlands, Australia, and Indonesia.
Oh,
This is good.
oh
Do
no.
not be Singapore.
Oh,
no,
no.
anyone but
It just-
Singapore. Anyone but Singapore.
I missed the
Singapore,
country.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh,
There's a few missing, huh?
There is.
Peru? Wait,
No,
Peru might
where's
be
the-
on there.
Where's the
Peru
UK?
and-
Oh, UK is gone. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oh well.
Laser. I have. Did I? Yeah, I have put it. Good old laser moment.
We love laser.
Yes, there we go.
Oh, we had to
There
take
we
that.
go.
I think we don't need
Damn
to redraw the
refresh.
seeds. Yeah.
Not regional. That's not regional. This is fine. This is fine.
right? This is fine.
This is fine. It's fine.
Still random.
And China in Group
Oh.
E with Denmark, India, Finland, and Malaysia.
Come on. There's two more. There's two more. There's two more.
Oh no.
In
Not
Group
Singapore.
F,
Not Singapore.
we
not Singapore,
have
not Singapore.
the UK
Anything.
with Czech
Singapore.
Republic, Spain,
Oh,
Kazakhstan,
wow.
and France.
Singapore now. Singapore now.
That is a 6 EC
Singapore
roster.
now.
I
Singapore
think
now.
all of those
Singapore now.
teams
Singapore
And
now.
Group
G.
G, the good of
Singapore.
group of that already.
Oh
we have,
no. Oh
Peru.
no. Peru. No.
and
Close
finally,
one.
Group H, we have Singapore.
I wonder which is
That's an
gonna be.
Asian
No.
group. That's
Yeah.
That's yeah. Other than Austria, it's a fully Asia group. Yeah.
yeah. I'm sorry for Austria for basically having to schedule
Man,
Asians.
My people are
entire
gonna have
time.
a great time scheduling with the Asian.
Group
Yeah.
D in particular is gonna have a wonderful time scheduling.
Oh yes, definitely.
And it's not like we're like 7 hours behind.
Yeah. Oh god. The
Group-
schedule nightmare that is Group
Let me
D.
Group A also is gonna have quite a bit of trouble scheduling with Japan.
Canada,
Yeah.
Colombia, Germany, and Switzerland. Yeah, at least Germany and
They
Switzerland.
just got
easy
the whole
schedule.
glow.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So anything you want to see? Anybody will have an idea or like comment on the group results?
I personally think that all these groups, there's going to be some upsets for sure. I can't really say what's gonna happen. I can only tell that it's going to be a chaotic group stage, and I am all for it.
Yeah. And sorry, go on.
If anything, I just see the chat with the reroll. If anything, it just makes it more random, to be honest.
It's very random. Like this is as random as you can be.
Hmm.
Yeah, and in the meantime, thank you everybody for watching, and sorry for the entire delay on all the scuffness. It's mostly, well, it's 99% my fault, so I'm very sorry about this entire thing, and because my laser is definitely breaking down, I am handing it over to somebody else for the map pool showcase.
We are not rerolling top seeds. We are
Yes.
already done rolling. Whatever group your country gets, you get that group.
And
This marathon
no,
stream
no
is long
point.
enough as it is.
It is on love.
We are not rerolling top seeds.
I can finally rest for a bit, but yeah, in the meantime, I will hand it out to somebody else. There's gonna be another stream ping. Once again, thank you everybody for your patience, and we will see you guys very soon today. So, yeah.